Bring the Finance Committee meeting to order. On roll call, Mr. Cassidy.
Here.
Mr. Podak.
Here.
Mrs. Lehman, present. All committee members are present. I'd ask for a motion to approve the digital minutes of the July 21st Finance Committee meeting, please.
So move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Podak and a second by Mr. Cassidy. On roll call, Mr. Cassidy.
Aye.
Mr. Podak.
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. Those committee minutes have been approved. Finance Director.
Good evening. Thank you. Just to follow up on a couple questions from our last meeting last month. There was a comment about that the budgeted expenses through halfway were much less than the 50% to date, and then on some of the capital projects that we had budgeted for this year. Some of it's just due to the timing of the spending and when the capital projects hit, or when some of the other expenses hit as they're needed. I'm going to find out a lot more about the capital projects that were on this year's budget as we start to look at the 2027 budget process. I have heard that some of the spending or the projects themselves will get pushed into next year. So that's some of the cause for that, but I'll look into it further and have some more follow-up for that. Some updates. The general audit update. The general audit field work has been completed. We have received a draft copy of the report. There are no findings or adjustments in the report to be made. At this point, the draft report is being reviewed by the auditor of the state. We don't expect any issues to arise during their review, and I will give an update when their review is completed. Legislation. I do have two pieces of legislation for tonight. One of them is to correct line item descriptions for appropriations that were made at the end of last year for this year in the Urban Community Forest Grant. No additional appropriations. We're not asking for any additional money. It's just the wrong description was used, and we uncovered that, and we're just making kind of the correction on that. The second one is also to do with the Urban Community Forest Grant Fund. We do want to appropriate some funds for additional 2026 costs for the ongoing right-of-way tree removal and maintenance that we have going on. These expenses are reimbursable through the American Forest Grant. We just have to front the money and then submit them for reimbursement. Assuming we have enough council members present, I'm going to ask that we waive the 3 readings for both of those to keep those moving along. Miscellaneous. One thing I wanted to bring up, we're in the process of swapping out all of our printers and copiers throughout the city under a new 5-year lease. The current 5-year lease is expiring. We worked with the department heads to identify the proper needs for each of the individual departments, and we were able to make some adjustments to the lease based from the prior lease to the current lease that should save us roughly about $8,000 annually over the next 4 years. So a little bit of relief there. Any questions before I get into the July financials?
No.
Okay. Things still look pretty good overall. All the main fund balances are in good standing and healthy, and the revenue and expenses are tracking pretty well. On our bank report, the city has $24,390,000 in the various bank and investment accounts at the end of the month, slightly down from June. About $14 million of that is very liquid in money market and checking accounts. Again, that's to handle all the capital projects, upcoming capital projects we have, and all the operating expenses relative to personnel. On the fund report, the general fund balance is $12,235,000. Of that, $10,586,000 is unencumbered. Payroll and benefits are not included in that encumbered amount, so that's why it's a kind of a larger number. Moving on to the enterprise funds on page 5. Water and sewer funds are both stable. The water fund has $3,528,000. Of that unencumbered, there is $2,767,000. The sewer fund has $2,947,000, and unencumbered of that figure is $2,202,000. Moving on to the revenue report. So 7 months through the year, most of the revenue should be around 58% collected versus what we had estimated. I mentioned this before, real estate tax is a little different. Those are billed semi-annually. Real estate taxes are sitting at 61%, which that's where they've been the last 2 to 3 months. It's not uncommon. Some people pay both halves of their real estate taxes up front, so a little ahead of the game there. We'll start to see the money from the counties flowing in on those in September and October. I do know there was some changes, that last minute changes that were put on the counties for some credits that the state passed that I know personally. Where I live, there was an extension of time to file the real estate taxes, so we might see those come in a little bit later than they had previously. I don't believe Seneca County extended theirs, but Hancock did. So, let's see. Income tax. Income tax is at 61% collected versus estimated, so slightly ahead of the 58% marker that we're looking to be at the end of July. Just a quick reminder, we've talked about this a few times now, but those delinquency letters that Rita will be sending out will be going out next month. So in case anybody gets questioned about those, there will be follow-ups then in November as well. On page 10 of the revenue report, the water revenue is just slightly below pace at 57%. We're kind of keeping an eye on that. It's been just slightly off pace for the last few months, but not too far off. On page 11, the sewer revenue is right on pace, maybe a tick ahead at 59%. And as I've been noting the last few months, the leachate portion of that is at 193%, well above the pace that we expected for the year. It's sort of leveled off though lately. That's all I had on the financials. Any questions?
I have 1, 2. Back in account 101,
Are you on revenue?
investment earnings and donations on revenue. 101, investment earnings and donations. I see we're at a huge amount of other income. Is that the one that has something to do with the street sweeper?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's 101, and then which account from there?
4700 30 and 50 and 250.
Yes, it is. Yep. So we had a issue with the original street sweeper, and we had to pay off the lease. We got an insurance proceeds to pay off the lease, and the state had us run the money or book the entries this way. So we have other income here, and it's also sitting in lease expense on the other side. So it's a complete wash, but it does make other income look a little odd for the year.
I remembered we discussed that, but I just.
Yep.
And then we were, I guess we're pretty close on interest earnings. But from what I took from page 1 of the accounts in general, We're running pretty close to, I guess, around 40,000 a month in earnings. Is some of that post every month or not all of it? That'd be back on page 1, the bank report.
The interest on the money market accounts post monthly. So that's
I was just looking mainly at the US Bank, the Red Tree, and Star Ohio.
so the Red Tree is more the investment side of it. It's all in very safe.
Right.
There's various investments in there without getting into the detail on which I don't know right off the top of my head, but some of those things post at various times. I'm not sure the sequence of all the interest postings on those.
Yeah.
Okay.
But between monthly and quarterly, I think most of them are.
All right.
With the Red Tree, when I used to book them at the schools, you would have periods of maturity times
Yes.
where you would see
Yes.
larger,
Deposits.
yes,
Interest, sure.
yes, that those gains were recognized at certain times, and that's when you book it.
Based on maturity, yeah. Yep.
But your Star Ohio should be posting every month, I believe.
Yes. Those are too.
Just a
And-
couple notable things I had on the finances. I see we got the hotel and motel tax that corrected. That was one that was misposted in a prior month. And that same with the ambulance.
It was the ambulance and I think, was it rentals? The hotel motel tax,
That was the one
they were way
arrears.
behind on a year and a half or more. So we got that all caught up. So last year there would have been a little bit of a deficit versus the budget. Because of that, we're getting it all caught up in this year.
And then we're seeing revenue this year on airport-related items that we haven't seen historically. So I was kind of looking at those. We have hangar rentals and then tower rentals. Is tower rentals part of the airport as well? Is that revenue generated from the airport? Because we have hangar rentals, tower rentals, and then airport fuel sales.
The tower rental, I believe, is separate. It's not at the airport. That's the tower out by the sewer plant.
Okay, so is that like your Verizon towers?
Correct.
Those kind of things?
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
that is correct. I do. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
The fuel, I think it was 14,000.
Yes.
I don't think we started selling fuel at the first of the year, did we? Were we able to do that? It seemed like the monitoring equipment or something there was a delay.
I believe we began selling fuel last year.
Yeah, I think we've had problems with the fuel pumps off and on, but they've been functioning properly now for since the spring.
Okay.
So
But that looks encouraging. It's not a huge amount, but it looks like it's going to start gaining some momentum.
well, it's going to gain to a degree, and then we also supplied some of the fuel to the acrobatic pilots for the air show as well. So it'll all balance out. But we are now known as having fuel, so people are stopping.
I don't have any further questions or comments on the financial from July. Does anyone else?
Real quick comment back to the investment side of things. Our money market accounts at West Banco, they're matching the interest rates that Star Ohio generates, so they're really pretty good as far as banking money market accounts go.
That's very competitive.
Yes.
Hey, if there's nothing else on the financial for the finance director, we'll move on to the mayor.
Just one comment with regards to that street sweeper. I am not pleased that our insurance company paid that bill. So I'm working with the insurance company and we're working with attorneys to subrogate on that bill to see if we can't get some of that back. We don't believe that the loss of that street sweeper after 1 month was caused by us. We think there probably was a problem with it when it was delivered to us. So we're engaging attorneys for subrogation in order to collect that money back. That one single claim also bumped our insurance premium for the year. So I would like to get that erased if we could.
And since the Safety Service Director is not here, we will move on to,
Maddie's here.
oh, Maddie is here. Please, Maddie, I didn't realize you were here. Please join us. We would love to have a report from you.
I can answer any questions that anybody may have about anything, but as far as the report goes for this committee, I have nothing.
I would just comment that Maddie is substituting for Eric because Eric is judging the Launch Seneca County program, which is going on tonight. He is judging over there.
Very nice. Well, we're happy to have you. I have one item that I was going to bring up during committee member comments, but I will share them with you and maybe you can pass them along. You and Eric can have a discussion. As we're going to be entering the budget period soon, we all know that we went out and done a lot of capital improvements this year. And Damon spoke to this briefly in his portion about we're not going to be able to complete all those. It would be nice if we could have some kind of a report at the close of summer as far as the projects that were completed, those which are in process and will and maybe get done later in the year, or those which we're not going to be able to complete and that they'll move to fiscal year 27.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually just implemented a project tracking system internally. It's kind of like a shared document between Damon, myself, Don, Eric, and our project manager. So it won't be hard to take that information and put it into a formal report for everybody.
That would be great.
Yeah, of course.
That would be great. Will it be able to tell us, like, if there's, let's say we have a paving project,
Yes.
will it tell us what streets are scheduled?
Yeah, we are planning on coming out with a formal planning, paving plan to release to the public as well. So once we get all of that finalized, I know the engineer's working on just wrapping up a couple more pricing specs, and then we should be able to provide that.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, committee members.
I have one question since it was already brought up as far as our settlement on that street sweeper. They supplied a second one. And it's my understanding a gasket leaked and there was some suspicion that that might have been the cause of the original sweeper we bought catching on fire.
That's our suspicion. Proving that will be very difficult because of the amount of fire damage there was to the original one, but that's the basis upon which we're protesting.
Oh, okay.
Are we still in possession of the burnt one?
No, it was picked up not that long ago to be taken to their facility to be reverse engineered, if you will, to attempt to determine the cause of the fire.
That's really all I have.
Okay, well, the only comments I would say then for the committee member section is I'd like to extend a thank you to not only yourself, Mr. Dandrian, even though he's not here, and your staff for the great job that they've done over fiscal year 25. Have a great audit completed here in 26. For no findings or adjustment, that's something to be commended, and we appreciate their hard work. I also want to thank you for the work that you've done taking on that copier project. We get comfortable with the equipment that we have, but we always need to revisit what we have because technologies change, and sometimes we can do things more efficiently with less. So I appreciate very much the time you put into taking on that project. And that's it for me.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
We have to offer the public a
Oh,
moment to speak. So if there's anyone from the public that would like to address the Finance Committee on finance-related items.
Deb Tyson, I just have one comment that I think that I have seen the finances of this town grow under this committee and our finance department and people that have brought it to my attention. Well, I wonder where my dollars are going for this or that. Well, they can ask any of you, or they could come here and hear the same thing I heard. And that's all I have to say. I think you guys are doing a good job.
It's really a combination of a variety of things. You can go back a number of years prior to the city having to go into financial emergency. And there were a lot of factors, jobs lost, the economy gone bad, a whole myriad of factors that led up to this. And I think a lot of there being money around now, we're playing catch up. So much of the things that we're doing, replacing city equipment, there's a whole list of stuff that we've done and a lot of things we have to do yet. But between a very frugal administration watching every penny that was spent and transitioning to better control in the finance director's position. For instance, when I first got on council, we had finance director that never knew from month to month how much money we really had. And the system needed revamped. You could ask two people and get three opinions on where finances were. And those days are gone now. We have a clear understanding of where we are. And I think we have a very good focus on where we're going to go. And I think one of the things I'm very confident that the administration is focused on not getting wild and crazy spending money, but keeping that very conservative approach. Replace what we need and take care of the needs of this community. I think they've done an excellent job setting the priorities, if that helps.
Anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, there is one thing that I want to pivot back on that had slipped my mind. Damon, tonight you have two ordinances, and I want to make sure that I understand one to be what I believe it is. So on the $75,000 one, that is simply, we've appropriated that money, but we appropriated it to capital outlay.
That's correct. The description in the appropriations was to capital. Practically, it was input into our system where it was supposed to go originally. So it was really just a line item description error that we're just correcting.
Yeah, and now we're just moving that 75,000 to another line. The reason I bring that up is as you head into the budgeting cycle, you had enlightened me recently that the state liaison said there might be a way that we can appropriate in not quite such a finite detail.
Yes.
Based on that conversation, I believe that if we were able to appropriate a little less detailed, we could eliminate this kind of thing. Could we not?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Any reclasses between different groupings. It's all about how we present the budget to city council and they approve it. So we could make it one step higher level, I'll call it, and
Okay.
not get as detailed, and then we won't have to worry about some of these little minor reclasses, I guess I'd call them.
Correct. And the reason I bring that up is because the public hears that we have this and we're going to pass it on an emergency, and they think that we're just rushing through a $75,000 purchase, and that's really not the case. We have budgeted for the $75,000
Correct.
all along. It's always been approved. You have the authority to spend that money. However, we need to move it to a different line item in the budget. That's really all this is.
That's all that one is. And in contrast, the second piece of legislation is asking for more appropriations.
Correct.
But as we've talked about already, that is going to be reimbursed through a grant. So the city won't be out any money in the end on that.
Correct. And when you work with these grants, sometimes it's a matter of you don't know what line item, that 175, or that it's going to be 175 for that next step in the process. So that's why these don't get appropriated till as you go.
Mhm.
Now, do we want to wait 6 weeks for that because we're going to be into fall?
We might miss the window to be able to spend the money to
Right.
then apply for reimbursement through the grant. So the city will lose out on those dollars that will just help the city. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Right. And I'm sorry to be redundant. It's just that I think sometimes we need to have those conversations so members of the public or other council members that may not understand how appropriations work they have a better understanding of why we pass these particular items on an emergency. So,
Yep.
but I'm all for if we can budget and appropriate in a less detailed fashion to avoid some of these,
Mhm.
I'm all for that.
Okay, good.
Anyone else?
I just would agree
Okay.
wholeheartedly.
Okay. Okay, with that, I'll just ask for an emotion to adjourn, please.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Okay, and on roll call, Mr. Cassidy,
yes.
Mr. Podak?
Yes.
And I am a yes. We are adjourned at 5:59.